how to study the weekly Torah portion. So this was born out of an idea to because many were requesting how to study Torah, looking for resources and things like that, because many people were new to Torah and they were wanting to understand. And so this is shall we say, this is for those of you that are new, learning how to study Torah. So each week we try to bring something, and this is the summary of Parashah Shelach. So when you begin studying the weekly Torah portion, don't try to understand everything at once. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is connection. So when you're looking in the Torah, in each week's parashah, is what we will talk about. You start with the big picture, the overall summary as to what's going on, and then it's read through. It's each Jewish community is reading it. So what you're reading is being read by everyone, every Jew around the world. If the Messiah was around, um, his disciples, they would be reading the same portion. So begin with just a short summary so you understand with the overall story. Then read a small section of the text itself, like Hebrew perspectives, what we do on our Facebook page is we share the Aliyah each day. And then you can look at the Hebrew as you begin to advance a little bit more, but you make sure you're using a clear English translation. I always suggest that you use the Art Scroll Chumash because it has English, Aramaic, and Hebrew, and also on the bottom, down here along the bottom, you can see commentary. And so take time as you're reading it to ask simple questions, what's happening, who is speaking, who's the audience, and then ask the question like, why does this matter? So then take an idea that you see in there and it's like there was in my Hebrew class, somebody was said, and they gave me an assignment and said, take this word and go and see why it has this, why it's plural, even though it's one place. So, but Torah is meant to, you just want to do one idea. You don't want to take a lot. Just one, just, whatever like I said, a lesson about God, lesson about people, about how to live. That's important when you're first coming to Torah, is learning how to refine your character, your midot. Torah is meant to shape life, not just fill up your mind. So, if possible, add one traditional commentary. Like I said, in your Chumash on the bottom, there's also Rashi in here, and you can use that to deepen your understanding, but keep it simple and keep it focused. Finally, take the Torah, what you're learning, bring it into your life. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can do different today because of what I have learned? Torah study becomes complete when it leads to action, even when you're doing it, even if it's just a small way. So let's get to Parashah Shalach. Parashah Shalach tells the story of one of the most important turning points in Israel's journey to the Promised Land. It's a very, very familiar story. You've probably heard it many times. But when you're studying Torah, you're going to look at the commentary, and you're going to receive new insights that you probably have never heard before. So at God's command, Moses sends 12 spies. Shalach lecha. He actually says, go for yourself. One leader from each tribe to scout out the land of Canaan. After 40 days, they return carrying enormous clusters of grapes and other fruit, proving that the land is rich and fertile. But while all the 12 spies agree that the land is good, only 10 of the spies focus on the challenges that lie ahead. So they speak about the powerful cities and the giant warriors, and they end up convincing the people that conquering the land is impossible. And only Joshua and Caleb trust that God will help Israel succeed. Now, the people panic. And instead of remembering God's miracles in Egypt and the wilderness, they give in to fear and they complain. And because of this lack of faith, God decrees that this generation that left Egypt will wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Their children will be the ones to enter the land. Again, when you get into the commentary about this particular spot right here, you will find some amazing things, and we will bring those out also on Shabbat when we bring out the Torah study. The central lesson of Shelach is the difference between seeing reality through fear and seeing it through faith. The spies and Joshua and Caleb, they all looked at the same land, but they reached completely different conclusions. Their perspective made all the difference. Now, this portion teaches that challenges can look bigger than they really are, and fear controls our thinking. Whether it's if you're a young person, you're at school or at work, or your friendships, or the family issues that you have going on, or even your future goals. Courage begins with trusting God and taking the next right step. Now, again, if you are new to Torah, if you're new to faith, Shalach contains a beautiful reminder that God's covenant community includes those who choose to join him. So, in Numbers 15, after the story of the spies, the Torah repeatedly teaches that there is one law for the native born and for the stranger who dwells among you. That's right, one law. This emphasizes that those who sincerely attach themselves to the God of Israel are expected to walk according to the same Torah and are valued members of the community. Now, the message of Shalach is simple, but it's powerful. Don't let fear define your future. Trust God, remain faithful to his commandments, and see the obstacles through the eyes of faith rather than through the eyes of fear. Joshua and Caleb, they show us that faith does not deny difficulties. It believes that with God's help, difficulties can be overcome. Thank you so much for joining. As per request, this is your weekly Torah summary for Parashah Shalach. We'll see you again next week. Hopefully, we'll see you in Torah study. Continue to follow the Aliyah on Facebook page each day. Follow along with us and share with the insights. God bless you all. Shalom, shalom.